So a federal judge on Monday issued a permanent injunction barring employees from California school districts from hiding their children's gender identity changes from the parents. As we know, for far too long, the government has purported this, as I will cite for you here. The theory upon which the court proceeds in such cases is that the custody and control of the parent over his minor children is a trust committed to him by the state, and this trust is dominated by the supreme guardianship of the state as parens patria of all infants within its border. And when the parent abuses the trust so as to endanger the welfare of the child, in such sort as to hamper or retard its development into a good citizen, which is not one of the people, by the way, it's a subject, the interest of society requires the state to assert its supreme guardianship and protect its ward. So, for far too long, this is what they have proceeded under the assertion of. Now, if calling our kids their ward don't strike you as the kind of language that bloody revolutions have been fought over in the past, I highly recommend you check your pulse. So, it's just another way to cover up parental rights being violated in the name of allegedly protecting transgender people's rights, children who are too young to even have their brains fully developed yet. Now we can see they also prohibit the teachers from allowing children to begin going by a different name without the parents' knowledge. Doesn't mean they can't do so, but the parents, it cannot be hidden from the parents. And as we know, we have those who rail against this. I'd like to iterate a bit here from actually the same case, but here they are citing Supreme Court cases. And where this one says that the liberty interest at issue in this case, the interest of parents in the care, custody, and control of their children, is perhaps the oldest of the fundamental liberty interests recognized by this court. So as you can see, there are good cases that confirm, again, your parental rights are perhaps the oldest of all liberty interests, not to be infringed upon by any nonsense, regardless of what the excuse is, be it education, be it, in the name of transgender, it makes no difference. It's just another excuse to allow the government to step in and make decisions in behalf of your children against your wishes. So lastly, in this discussion, the Court of Civil Appeals quoted from several authorities, including Justice Scalia's dissent in Troxel versus Granville. If you're at all familiar with family cases, this is one of the most famous cases to ever have been heard, up there with Pierce versus Society of Sisters, Prince versus Massachusetts, Stanley versus Illinois, Wisconsin versus Yoder, etc., etc. Now, they recognize that the right of parents to make decisions regarding a child's care, control, education, health, and religion, as well as with whom the child will associate, is a fundamental right that arises as an inherent consequence of the parent-child relationship, independent of any case law, statute, or constitutional provision. So without coming out and saying so, they're telling you this is a common law right. This is an inalienable right, okay, a creator-given, God-given, however you want to phrase that, right. It's beyond even oriented with a constitutional provision. So, in case you know who the ACLU is, let me tell you who they really are. So this is Christine Parker, senior staff attorney at the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, railing against the decision, claiming that trans and gender nonconforming students across California are now at risk of being outed to their parents by their teachers and other school staff due to the ruling. So it bars agents of the government, Department of Education agents, attorneys general staff, State Board of Education, etc., from taking enforcement actions or other steps to address outing by educators. In other words, they want to discipline the teacher for leaking the information about the children to the parents. And unfortunately for them, I'll cry them a river and play the world's smallest violin a bit later for them. They won't be allowed to do so anymore based on this federal ruling. We can also talk a bit about this ruling as far as the pediatric care. As we know, it is a multi-billion-dollar a year industry, and there have been quotes or hot mic quotes. I couldn't find the exact citation just now, where doctors have been caught saying, "Oh, this is a big moneymaker here. Transgender kids. We can get kids who are too young to make their own decisions and get them in here and chop their penises off before their brains fully developed." So there you have it. This is this article talking about how, hospitals and, are at risk and of not being able to make billions off of mutilating children whose brains are not yet developed.